On a very special Sunday edition of Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford, we welcome you to Oxnard Harbor, one of the most beautiful scenes on the entire West Coast, as we have a little change of scenery on a day off for the players and the final day of the first week of Training Camp 2022. Alongside Mickey Spagnola and Britt Johnson, I'm Kyle Youmans. Glad you're with us as we wrap up the ramp-up period for the Dallas Cowboys and plenty of padded practices still to come. Mickey, when you look at these last four practices, these first four practices, what have we learned about this Cowboys team so far?
Well, I think it's a pretty competitive training camp. I think when coming in, we knew there was going to be a lot of competition at different positions. There's going to be competition on the offensive line. There's going to be competition at wide receiver. There's going to be competition at safety. So I think we saw that in camp, and at the end of these 4 days, we saw a little of the competition at kicker too, and that's one thing that we cannot forget about, that we've got to keep an eye on these kickers.
Now, you spoke on competition on both sides of the ball. Going into these padded practices, what unit do you think will benefit the most?
Yeah, I think always that what benefits the unit benefits the most are the offensive linemen. Put those pads on and let those guys play. It's really hard to play football without your pads, and they can play more football. What we've seen so far, it's passing game and then it's running game. Well, now they can mix it up. And once the offensive linemen aren't sitting on their heels all the time, we'll see what they can do. They can be more physical. I'm anxious to see the offensive line when the pads come on.
Kind of playing along that same line with the physicality, is there a little bit of a ramp up in terms of intensity of these practices? Because you mentioned you like the pace of the practices that we've seen so far. Is there anything added to that when the pads finally get on the shoulders?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to play football. We've been sitting here with basically mini camp practices, right? It's like football in jerseys, helmets, and shorts. Now they can play football, and the guys start hitting. Now, they're not going to be putting guys on the ground and tackling, but you can thump up. And if you hit the running back a little too hard, somebody's going to get mad, right? And so, boys will be boys, right? Now, I know these are professionals and they're men, but we'll see a lot of tangling going on out there. I guarantee you that.
Now, really quickly here, Mick, with the skills positions outside of those offensive linemen that you mentioned a moment ago, how can a wide receiver benefit from having the pads on?
Yeah, I think now you got to do it when you know you're going to get hurt. It's one thing to just catch the ball. Now you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah, that's a big thing, too, and also jamming up at the line of scrimmage as well. Special thanks for Mickey Spagnola as we look ahead to Dak Prescott's 2022 season. Plenty more to come in his golden year.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Go Cowboys! This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
So a franchise best 37 touchdowns wasn't enough for Dak Prescott in 2021. He has loftier goals, loftier team goals this season for the Dallas Cowboys, but it is also a golden year for him. He celebrated his 29th birthday earlier in the week, and he's got some goals for 29, but also he's enjoying the ride a little bit.
Yes, and no better way to get this kicked off than being in the Golden State of California. Let's take a look at what Dak had to say about not only his birthday, but what he has anticipated for this upcoming season. This is Dak's 7th training camp and 7th birthday at training camp. On July 29th, jersey number 4, quarterback Dak Prescott turned 29 years old. For Dak, this is his golden year.
I like to reflect here and there just to, know where I come from and just knowing where I want to get to. It's a quick reflection, but it's definitely moving forward. As they say, the rearview mirror is a whole lot smaller than the front windshield. So 29th golden birthday, so planning for this to be the golden year.
As Dak reflects on his birthday, it's not only about what this year represents, but what he can achieve on the field with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, the old saying, defense wins championships, it's true. And when he says quarterbacks win the Super Bowl, it means they got to make big plays and big moments in games like that. And 100% understand what he's saying. And yeah, just trying to do whatever I can to get to that moment, really.
Everything we've talked about has been about finishing, right? In the red zone.
Yeah, there's times that you reflect back. That feeling's a nasty feeling, and that's the one that when you think about, as I said, you want to go work. You want to go do whatever you can to make sure that you don't feel that way again. And yeah, that's what we're out here trying to do.
Be great!
I really did love that quote from Mike McCarthy earlier in the week, speaking about how defenses, sure, they do get you to championships. They help you win championships. But ultimately, a quarterback's going to be what wins you a Super Bowl. And that's Dak Prescott's ultimate goal as a part of the Dallas Cowboys. It always is if you are a franchise quarterback, especially for the Cowboys.
Anyway.
Exactly. What would a successful season in 2022 look like for Dak Prescott?
You know, I mean, him last season having an offense that had the most total yards in the league is a huge thing. The 37 touchdowns, again, amazing as well. But I think we need to win playoff games. I think that's the next step, the next key for Dak Prescott and these Dallas Cowboys is to win some games in the postseason, and that's going to be the definition of a successful season for Dak Prescott this year.
Do you feel like there's a little added pressure on him just based off of the personnel around him? No Michael Gallup at the start of the season, and then you really find a way with some of these young receivers to have that same type of production?
Listen, from what I've seen in camp so far with Dennis Houston and Vasher and even Rico stepping up, I don't think there's a ton of pressure on Dak because it looks like we're getting some playmakers already in camp.
Speaking of playmakers, Tony Pollard looking for an expanded role in the offense. We hear from the second running back who's looking more like a one running back in any other offense when we come back with more Inside Cowboys Training Camp.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Are you anticipating a bigger role this year?
Yeah, I am.
What are the signs that tell you that? Why you feel this way?
Just being on the field more, if it's not even us just rotating, but us being on the field together. So, just being out there more.
How encouraged are you getting a chance to be on the field at the same time as Zeke?
I mean, I'm always encouraged. Anytime I'm on the field, able to make plays, help the team, I'm always ready.
What is that running back room like? Are you guys competitive with each other? Are you guys encouraging each other? How does that dynamic work?
I mean, we're very competitive in there, but, we encourage each other all the way through. So, we're each other's biggest fans.
Welcome back to the final segment of Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford, here from the Oxnard Harbor, one of the most beautiful places here on the West Coast. And it's a little bit different than the practice field that we've been on recently. But we just heard from Tony Pollard, presented by Sleep Number. He's expecting more opportunities. I think Cowboys fans are expecting more opportunities for Tony Pollard this season. Should he see those, and how could he help this offense?
I am a Tony Pollard stan. For all of you who don't know what that is, I am a huge fan of his. He is one of my favorite players actually on this Dallas Cowboys team because he is kind of a hybrid. He can, do the special teams. He can, catch the ball as a receiver. He can catch the ball as a running back, and I really like him. But I also have seen what Rico's been doing right now in training camp, and then obviously we have a new returner that might be doing some big things in training camp. So I don't know how much extra opportunities Tony Pollard's going to get. I would like to see him get opportunities, but at this point, there's some guys that are stepping up, and I need Tony to match that. Match that energy.
Match that intensity. You're speaking on Rico Dowdle, who's had a fantastic camp so far.
Yes.
We'll see how he can continue that momentum heading into the padded practices. But with him as a part of it, Kevontae Turpin, as like you said, an all-world returner during his time at TCU, there may be less opportunities outside of the offense. So, hey, if Rico Dowdle, if Kevontae Turpin, if they have their opportunities, they need to take advantage. But ultimately, Tony Pollard, he is expecting to be a key figure in that offense, and Kellen Moore certainly wants to use him in such a way. That does it for us here on this edition of Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford. For Britt Johnson, I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you for padded practices tomorrow.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.